Welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. This is episode number 132, Loving Each and Every Kid in the House. We're going to start right off the bat today with the challenge question, which is, do you frequently feel as though you are not meeting everyone's needs? As a mom or a dad, with I would say anything over 3 kids, it is a great challenge meeting everyone's emotional needs. I have a good friend who has 4 children. She's struggling to do so. I have another friend who has 8 children. She perpetually says there's no way she's handling everyone's needs. I have another friend who has 9. She definitely concurs. And I can tell you that my mom and dad certainly struggled with this, although they may not have admitted it. And so the more people you have in your family, and that also might include siblings, the more likely it is that you're going to expend a significant amount of energy on a few of them, and other people are going to get left out. And with your children, that's a mistake. It's going to cause trouble in the future. And so you've got to learn how to meet the needs of multiple people, even when you feel stretched far beyond your own capacity to do that. So today we're going to talk about ways for you to meet the needs of your children emotionally, as well as how to marshal some help and get some people behind you and allow yourself some breathing room, that you aren't the only person meeting all of those needs. Of course, the very first person that you're going to turn to is your mate. I recognize, because I was a single mom for a lot of my children's growing up years, you may not always have a mate. And so in that case, it might need to be your folks or a really good friend, one of your siblings, an older person at your church. You just can't do it all by yourself. And so you need to get that in your head. I'm going to need some help doing this, and figure out who a strong and healthy, emotionally available person is that's going to be able to do this with you. Then you're going to need some help of someone who's just going to give you emotional support. Yeah, this is a rough journey. There's no question about that. So whether you have a mom's group, or again, whether you have an older aunt or a friend, a lady down the street whose kids are all young marrieds or gone to college, but she did a good job with hers, and you have a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 9-year-old, an 11-year-old, and you're like, oh my gracious me, I need some help. And she can help you. If nothing else, just to be a sounding board, somebody for you to talk to about your frustrations, as we discussed yesterday, or even about your feelings of inadequacy. Guys, listen to me carefully. As a dad, you might struggle with this one, because guys aren't exactly going to go out and pour their guts out to other guys and go, yeah, I never feel like I'm giving enough. I mean, my wife is already needy, and then I got these 3 kids. I'm not sure I'm hitting on any cylinders, much less all of them. Yeah, guys generally aren't going to do this. But I want to encourage you to get real with yourself, hopefully with your mate, and maybe your dad if he was a good guy, or if not, an older guy somewhere in your world, preferably not at work, and say, I really want to be a good dad. I do. But wow, I got all these people that need so much out of me. I'm already working 9, 10 hours a day. Then when I get home, I'd really like to sit down, just chill out in front of the TV set for an hour and let my head rest. But all these people have all these demands on me. And part of the reason I avoid it is I never feel like I'm doing a good job. You're not alone in the world. You do need to have the courage to have somewhere that you can say those kinds of things and at least get some level of support. So I would love to help you with this one. Let's see if we can tackle it. First of all, make sure that every single one of those children gets 3 to 5 minutes a day that is exclusively theirs. I realize if you have 8 or 9 children, oh my goodness, you're looking at a solid hour somewhere in the day that you've got to find to give each of these kids 3 to 5 minutes of your life, right? Pretty tough stuff. I get this. But I don't mean you have to sit down in a chair and look right at their face and have this intensive 3-minute time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, so your one daughter is 11 years old and she's in her room because she's reading a book, and everybody else for 2 minutes is kind of quiet. So you stand in her doorway and you lean against the door jamb and say, "What are you reading?" And she's like, Mom, I'm in a really good part. I don't want you to interrupt me. "Come on, Dad, I just got some time." And say, "This is our time today. So just, will you talk to me for just a minute?" Once they start finding out that they're going to get a couple minutes of devoted time, they're going to cherish that time. And they're mostly not going to fight you on it because they need it. And they're going to start recognizing, okay, this is my couple minutes just for me, and I'm going to take it. With some kids, if it's their day to do the dishes and everybody else has vacated the kitchen because they don't want to get rooked into doing who knows what, that's a great opportunity for 5 minutes of uninterrupted time with that particular child. If your child's kind of pokey in the bathroom when they're brushing their teeth, yada, 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 you can actually go in there and sit on the side of the tub while they're brushing their teeth and brushing their hair and washing their face. This is good with like a 14 or 15-year-old guy especially, believe it or not. I know this one. And say, "How was your day? What was best about your day? Did anything monumental happen today?" You'll develop a whole repertoire of questions. And after a while, it's almost like they're habituated into this. This is my time. And they'll start telling you, "Mom, this happened today and I was really worried about it. Dad, I can't believe this joker did this today at ball practice." Yeah, you just have this couple minutes and you can tell them if it's really something big. Once everyone else has gone to bed, we're going to sit down and talk about this a little bit more. Now, this cannot be an every night occurrence because some kids will play the "I don't want to go to bed, let's talk for half an hour." It's like, no, no, no. This is maybe once or twice a month that they're going to get an extra 10 or 15 minutes that's going to address something pretty big that happened. And you can guarantee that you need to build it into your routine if you have 5 or 6 children, that most of the nights of your life, you're going to need that extra 10 minutes with whomever, someone in the house, whether that's your husband or your wife or one of your kids. But you just give them those couple of minutes, each one of them, every day. You are affectionately caring for each and every child in the house. And this is not easy stuff. You have to pay attention. Now, I'm here to tell you, when my mom got older, she couldn't tell us anything about who did what. She really couldn't. It was all jumbled up in her head. And I don't mean when she was an old lady. I mean like even in her 40s. She had 10 kids. She couldn't keep it straight. So I'm going to say this to you. Mom, Dad, depending on what kind of a memory you have, keep notes. For real. There is nothing wrong with this. Do you understand? You want to know your children. You want to meet their needs. If you can't keep 6 kids straight in your head, and I get this, then you keep notes. Really. Because even my kids, I only had 2. For a long time, I really believed that my one son liked this particular thing and my other one didn't. I had it totally backwards. So at one point when they were teenagers, I gave this particular dish, a meal, to my one son. He's like, "Why are you feeding me that?" I said, "Because you like it." "No, I don't. My brother does." So imagine if you have 6 or 7 or 8 or even 4 and you're trying to handle this. Keep notes. There isn't anything wrong with that. Child B had trouble today with their friend. This is what I recommended. A couple days later, you can come back. We resolved this problem. The next time your child goes, "I never can fix anything. I'm really bad and my friend never." And you can say, "Well, do you know what? This happened a couple months ago and you had a conversation with them and it did get better." So it's rather obvious that your friend has problems in this area, but you can't say they never try or it's never going to change. That's going to be like, "Oh my word, my parent is paying this much attention to my life?" Yeah, that really feeds your child's sense of self and sense of importance and increases their valuation of themselves because you know things about their life. You are really in tune. That's part of loving each and every one of your children. If it takes notes to do it, by all means, please do it. Mom, Dad, I want to tell you, I understand it is extremely overwhelming at times. I really do know this. I am not clueless, okay? And you have to build into your life self-care as well as care of those kids. Literally, this is why you have a schedule. Everyone is in the house and in their room, if not asleep, by a particular time. I would say 8:30 or 9, and I know teenagers are going to hate this. And on a school night, that means every night except for Friday and Saturday, they got a deal because you actually need a life too. And if you're going to have any quiet time whatsoever, it's either going to happen between 9 and 10 o'clock at night, or you're going to have to get up an hour earlier in the morning and sacrifice sleep just to have time to yourself. And I'm going to look at you and say to you, not only do you have my permission, you have my strong recommendation that you take care of yourself. This is not at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the expense of every other human in your household. It is in the night after they're in bed or in the morning earlier. But you do need to take care of yourself because it's very hard to love and care for someone else when no one's taking care of you. Then you need to acknowledge, I got to have some help. I don't have enough of everything that every one of these kids needs because you really don't. It's for real. Okay. So in our family, one of our older siblings had responsibility for one of us younger kids. I'm not really sure that's the world's greatest idea, but to give them the responsibility for half of an hour or an hour a day is probably a good idea because they can handle it, especially once they're 12 or 13. They can hang out with a 2 or a 3-year-old as long as they know that you are fully accessible all of that time. So when they hit a snag and they don't know what to do, they can come straight to you and say, Mom, this happened. What should I do? Then, of course, you need to get other adults involved. So say you have a couple of aunts in your city or a couple of ladies at your church that really like some of the kids in your family, and you establish relationships between them. These are extraordinarily trustworthy people. Be careful in this. Let me give you the warning. But you allow your children to spend 2 hours with someone in your family unit. If you've ever even heard shadings of never trust so-and-so, don't let Uncle Blank be alone with your kids, then don't do it. I don't care how sweet they are, how nice they act. Never endanger your children. And if your children come home and say, I never want to go there again, your response lovingly is, okay, you don't have to. I hate to have to put that in here, but we know the world today. But in general, you want to foster great relationships between your kids and others, especially someone who really cares about your child and is going to put time in. So my friend who has 4 children, recently I had a discussion with her and her mom. And I said to her mom, you need to spend time with each one of those kids. So if we'll say Friday afternoons or evenings, each one comes to your house once a month, which I might add is not a lot, but a couple hours every single month consistently, it really does put great things into that child's life and help them feel really loved and helps them feel important. So find adults that are significant that can love your children as well as you. And then lastly, this is what I want you to know. Your children are not the same people. They each one have their own dreams and desires and ideas and interests. And one of the things that shows them, proves to them irrevocably how important they are to you is that you know what they love and you're willing to foster it. And so, again, this is not an everyday thing, but once every couple of weeks you say, I know that you really love badminton. So today we're going to play badminton. Everyone in the whole family may or may not be involved, but you're demonstrating to that one child great affection in that you're loving them as an individual and doing what matters to them. So your other son loves to go fishing, and you say, we're going to go fishing down at the creek. I know you girls don't want to touch the worms, and I get all of that, but we're going fishing. You do things for each one of those children that they really love, that's really important to them, even if it is, again, like I said, only once a month. You are demonstrating to them that you know them, you care about them, you care about what matters to them or what's important to them, and you're more than willing to participate with them in things that they just love. And so you're following up with their interests. There's ever so much more to say about this, but in this, I guess we'll call it introduction to this idea, I hope that it has helped you to learn that you can, in fact, love each and every kid in your house Even though it will be challenging, there will be times that will be frustrating, and you may, in fact, feel as though you are not adequately meeting every need. And I know that as a parent, it's what you want to do, and it may not be possible every single day. But I hope that I've given you a few tools that might facilitate you having a better sense of loving your children, each one individually, meeting his or her needs in a way that is meaningful, and having a safer, happier, more loving environment inside of your house. Thank you so much for joining me today on Paint a Beautiful Picture. I will look forward to having you with me again soon. If you would like, please leave me a thumbs up. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to share it with a friend, and it will be great seeing you soon. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.